After editing over 1 billion views worth of videos, I started to notice some patterns. And everything I've learned says this shouldn't work on YouTube. Michelle Khare hates retention editing. Her videos are 30 minutes long, yet somehow she still gets over 10 million views. Then I saw this one scene where she's just lying on the floor, yet somehow it felt like she was drowning. That's when I realized they were using something no editing guru ever talks about. And if you don't understand it, your edits might look good, but they'll never make people feel something real.
I am going to attempt to escape Harry Houdini's deadliest trick, the water torture cell.
That's such a beautiful way to kick it off. You can hear this little... And that's how a lot of cinematic trailers are edited. They've also got this lovely riser building up in the background. That is one of the easiest ways to tell the brain, panic. Have a panic attack, freak out.
Known as one of the deadliest stunts in magic.
This is a perfect shot right here because it seems less like a stunt and it almost seems like a monster that she's gonna face. This looks like a dungeon. Like, look at that. These look like little torture objects. It tells the audience, this is what you should be afraid of. And if you notice, the tank is dry. They need to reintroduce the fact that there is water involved and focus on it. This is another technique that you see in a lot of IMAX films. It starts super cropped in and then they slowly lift up the frame. If you can take up the full screen with this water, this simulates the POV of you being in the tank, just filling up, and you can't do anything about it. All we're really trying to do as editors is simulate how the characters felt.
I will be submerged upside down, handcuffed.
Oh my, guys, look at this. Over 1,000 editors have already grabbed my 12 viral editing secrets, and a bunch of them are already using it to level up their edits and get higher paying clients. You think these are just random editing tips, but they're not. It's literally how I got to $12,000 a month as a video editor. The link's in the description. Go check it out.
Only a single breath to make my escape.
Ticking of the clock is the simplest way to build tension because time is the only thing we can never get back. Anytime a clock is featured in a film, it builds tension. Oh, y'all are smart. Y'all are smart. Look at Michelle's head positioning. Now let's circle that. Okay, we're gonna go to the next shot. Boink. Right in the same spot as this woman who has the most terrified look on her face. The editor literally manipulated our eyes into looking at this woman instead of these three. Because if you look at their faces, look at this woman right here. She's kind of smiling. Oh yeah, Michelle's dying. That's lit. Look at this lady. Looks kind of impressed and happy to be there. Michelle's getting cooked. Nice. This lady is terrified. Michelle's gonna die. Like everybody is just chilling except her. That is the power of the eye trace. You can manipulate the audience so hard that they don't even focus on the three people that contradict this lady's emotion. In a lot of intros, they tend to do this whole cutting to black thing back and forth, but here it has a slightly different meaning. What it signifies here is her blacking out. And even if the audience doesn't feel it consciously, if you can affect the subconscious, that's truly all that matters because that builds up to such a huge degree. This is such an underrated part of Michelle's videos. The fact that she always matches the title card to the theme of the episode. Something that immerses you in the video beyond just the normal branding. This feels like this is something special. And it also gives your brain a chance to breathe. Literally, because right after this, they cut into Michelle going, which is the perfect way to start this. You show her about to drown, cut to the title card, and then she comes up for air.
It's so in my head. I was just thinking about the whole time, like, how am I supposed to do this with handcuffs on? Like,
this is the perfect opener because we've gone from peak tension to Michelle opening up about insecurities and fears about the challenge. This is the exact type of vulnerability that we need. It's setting up the classic hero's journey where you want to accomplish a goal, you can't accomplish it where you're at, so you have to change as a person. Then you accomplish the goal, come back home changed, and everybody lives happily ever after. We need to see that she is not capable, or else the challenge will feel too easy.
You will get in your head and freak yourself out.
Okay.
And whenever you're training, I want you to have that mindset.
Hey, wait a minute. You cut on a blink? I done told y'all, if you cut on the blink, it's jarring. Get them things out of the edit, or I will beat you.
Because that's how people actually drown. I'm gonna be safetying you, and that's all I do.
Before, when they were showing these shots of them two together, they were just static camera angle, but now they are slowly zooming into Michelle's face to escalate that tension. There's something about a camera moving into a character's face that tells the brain, freak out. There is a reason to be scared.
Houdini would be suspended upside down with his feet locked in stocks and lowered into a tank filled to the brim with water.
I really like the way they did this sequence because in a video like this, you risk a feeling of repetition. 35 minutes of me in the water, it can be a bit too much for general audiences without them losing interest. So with this whole sequence adds contrast. It accesses a different part of the brain than we've been using for the entire edit up until this point, which is great for retention.
They're what you call double locking handcuffs.
What does that
that's
mean?
because there's two different ways to lock them. So first would be when you just close it, it locks and that prevents this from moving it.
Finally! If you're dealing with something with an insanely detailed mechanism like this, get a hyper super close-up of it. Audiences love that. As much as we love to see the bigger picture, the grand scheme, okay, tell me what I gotta know, we also love to get down and dirty. Just show me the smallest form of something.
It pushes that bar in, allowing the double lock to press down the spring, which means these teeth can't move anymore.
Like if they didn't get this shot, I would be lost.
Like this?
I'll do it on my wrist at the same time, so.
Important face right here. This is what makes Michelle's channel Michelle. It's her laugh. She could be training with the army, the bomb squad, the gosh darn president, secret service. It doesn't matter. At some point, she's gonna laugh with the people training her. It helps break the tension. You don't just want to have tension the entire time. You build tension and you release it. We are still in the earlier parts of the video, so we need to show the human in her, not just the fear, not just the panic. We've seen that. Let's show the lightheartedness, because we're probably not going to get this laughter later on when she's doing the actual challenge. She's going to be locked in and focused. So if you hide all that emotion, if you don't show the laughter, if you don't show the smiling, it doesn't show the full emotional range of a human.
I didn't know any of this history of Houdini when we set out to do this project. Well, let me tell you.
You gotta be fisting me. This isn't even a problem with the edit. This is well, I don't even know. This is a problem with the cinematographer. But it's almost like maybe the editor could have fixed it, actually. They're cutting back and forth. The light goes from the left side of Michelle to the right side. Left, right, left, right. It feels like I'm watching a ping pong match. It's very distracting. And that could have been removed with a simple little masking out, and it would have looked super clean. That's so bizarre.
He was an amateur boxer. He lived on the road with a traveling circus. And some people theorize that he was actually helping the Secret Service identify counterfeit coins. Sound familiar?
That's a crazy flex. Instead of showing Houdini, she's showing all of her past challenges. That is one of the cleanest ways to send the audience to your other videos after this one is over. That is smart.
Training in a fish tank in my backyard can only get me so far.
That was a good one to keep in as well. That is one thing I didn't feel throughout this entire sequence until they cut to that. I didn't even consider that water is cold. By having the little, it adds an extra bit of depth to the story, an extra obstacle that you weren't considering. The more obstacles, the more issues, the more challenges you can add to the story, the more rich it feels and the better the payoff. That's the difference between a $300 editor and a $3,000 editor. psychology. Only a few editors get it, like Amog. He was charging $90 per edit, getting overlooked by clients, and didn't think my Elite Editor Academy would be worth it. But after he joined, he mastered storytelling and client psychology in a few weeks and landed a $1,200 a month retainer. He also edits for one of my 600,000 subscriber clients, and the client pays extra just for his feedback. And look what Chantel said! I watched every single breakdown on your channel, but even in the first few chapters of the program, I could feel my brain rewiring. The link's in the description. Click it right now.
Mark Rober is the internet's greatest engineer, responsible for some of the most viral inventions of our time.
If you don't watch Mark Rober, this music that's playing underneath means nothing to you. But if you do, this is pretty much Mark Rober's theme song. So it's very clever and cheeky of them to play his theme song as he's revealed.
He invited us to his larger-than-life engineering lab, where all the real magic happens.
While introducing Mark Rober and showing off his crazy stunts, the sound design is a bit more suppressed, a bit quieter. If the volume of Mark Rober's sound design was just as loud as Michelle's underwater scenes, the underwater scenes wouldn't have nearly as much power, because it sounds just like a little introduction of a new character. You need to establish a sense of scale. Like, look at this nuke. It's huge, but how big is it? Well, just look at those trees. Oh my gosh, the trees are freaking tiny. You always need a frame of reference so that you can understand the magnitude of what you're looking at or listening to.
Mark started getting a bit carried away.
2 tanks like this with hungry piranhas with like a trapdoor.
I like Mark Rober's theme, and I love that it was used at the start, but I believe it would have had more impact if we only played his theme one time. Because by going back to it, sure, you could say, oh, it's a leitmotif, which is a reoccurring piece of music that's going to trigger a certain memory or association with a certain person. But it sort of robs the quirkiness of the first time it was played, and now it seems a bit played out to me. In this case, if we're saying Mark Rober got carried away, we should play some music kind of like this.
2 tanks like this with hungry piranhas with like a trapdoor. This trapdoor would come up and they would come in. Of course, you got the toaster coming down this way. Oh, I will say you're not allowed to transport piranhas across state lines. Don't ask me how I know that. Are you filming this in California? Yeah. The worst.
That's just an example of how a simple music switch can completely change the emotion of the scene.
This is one of the only times I get to train with the tank before my final performance.
Now, I don't know where this particular scene is going because I haven't seen this, but if I was editing this, I would make sure to show that she has improved a lot, but she's still missing something. We need to show that she has made dramatic improvements. If we don't show that, then all the other scenes prior were a complete waste of time. But if we show too much improvement, well, what are we worried about? There's no tension.
But I was getting increasingly frustrated because my breath hold times were actually starting to get worse.
Oh, even better. Her breath hold times are getting worse? That's better than what I suggested.
I'm a very goal-oriented person. I want to hit certain times, and being told, stop thinking about the clock and just let yourself float away.
That's so smart. I love what they just did. Even while she is on the carpet, safe inside a house, they're making it sound like she's underwater. She's not actually in danger, but we feel the danger because they're using the same sound design that they did when she was underwater. That's just such a nice touch. She can't escape it. And look at that. What a great shot right there. The human face can reveal a lot of things to you, but sometimes you can look at other parts of the human body and it will tell you a completely different story or tell you a more intense version of how the person is feeling, even if their face doesn't show it. That's why these super close-up shots are so essential.
Is it clear?
Yo! I love the sound design to feel the heat of it. And I guarantee they got that shot after it happened. Like, I don't think they were just filming this at the same time. And that's one of the things you got to tell your clients, guys. When you react like this to something, freaking film what made you do it. I look down. What am I looking at? The keyboard. Get a shot of the keyboard. It's so obvious, but I swear there's so many clients that just don't get it. So the editors, you gotta whip them into shape. Ah, clever. They were timing the clicking to the cuts, but then they timed the tick to her removing the handcuffs. Cut. Cut. Ching! They broke the pattern the moment I got used to it. That's a perfect way to subvert expectations. I love the anxiety-inducing editing they're doing here. All the shots of Michelle are just her kind of struggling a little bit. And then they kind of like make you think, oh, she's fine, I guess. And then just boom, straight up drown in action. The escalation of tension, it was so quick. It's almost like a partial jump scare. That scene was so good, it almost made me forget about the 12 viral editing secrets. Links in the description.
I'm not even hitting the benchmarks I could in the pool to make all of the time, energy, and teamwork worth it. I get one shot tomorrow.
That's one of the few times they've used slow-mo, and I think that was the perfect time to do it because it projects the feelings that she's having. She feels slow. She is barely progressing, and this footage being slowed down gives us that same feeling. And this is the perfect place to be for performance night. It gives us the perfect amount of tension to lead into this scene we have been begging to see for the entire edit.
Our rescue team and medical professionals are standing by, waiting to intervene if necessary.
Look at that shot of the hands. What'd I tell you guys? Simplest trick in the book. They are likely not holding hands because they are nervous about what's to happen. They're most likely holding hands because they love each other. But because of the words the presenter is saying combined with the music, we project that emotion onto the footage.
Michelle is in the water, and our timer has begun.
We are at the 30-minute mark of the video. Anyone that was gonna click off this video would have clicked off by now, which means they are letting these shots breathe with a little bit slower cuts.
This chest padlock has given her the most trouble in rehearsals, and it appears to be giving her some trouble now.
The funny thing is, we do not know how long that lock took. Did it really take this long? Or was it a little trick the editors like to use, which is time manipulation? You use a bunch of B-roll shots, you pad out the story so it seems like she's underwater for longer. In real time, every second feels horrifying for the audience, but to communicate that same tension to a virtual viewer, you gotta stretch it out a bit longer. It makes it feel like this panic attack is being created from the editing alone. Oh man, that face she makes that is like that is terrifying. Oh, that is tension. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, they are dragging this. Oh my god. Dude! This is the closest thing to watching like a multi-million-dollar feature film on YouTube. I'm not even, yo, call me a glazer. I don't care. Now, Michelle has some of the best editing on the platform, but there's only one YouTube series where the editing feels even more intense than the actual video. Beast Games does something in its edits that most creators wouldn't dare. It breaks pacing, overloads your senses, and still keeps you glued to the screen. One scene in particular forces you to cry. And if you haven't studied how they pulled it off, you're probably missing the biggest reason your edits don't feel addictive. And you can watch that video here.